how your hidden energy disrupts ancient forces. There's something inside you that even you haven't fully understood yet. It moves quietly, beneath your thoughts, beneath your fears, beneath the version of yourself you show to the world. But it's not new. It's ancient. There have been whispers about you long before you arrived in this body. You've walked through lifetimes carrying fragments of a power that the world doesn't know how to name. And now, in this life, it's waking up, and it's scaring people. You've probably noticed the shift. You walk into a room and the air changes. People who don't even know you either cling to you or avoid you like fire. They feel something, but they can't explain it. You don't move like everyone else. You don't react like everyone else. Your silence holds weight. Your presence exposes secrets. And for those who rely on control, manipulation, and illusion, you are a threat. Especially to those who practice in secret circles. The witches. The energy workers who don't work in light. The ones who cast spells in the dark and think no one sees. They feel you coming. They've always felt you. You're not like them. You didn't go searching for this power, it found you. You didn't study it in books or inherit it through rituals. It was born with you. It's encoded in your DNA. You don't need incantations to shift reality. Your intention alone causes ripples. Your emotions summon outcomes. Your dreams reveal timelines. That's not forbidden magic. That's divine memory. But they don't call it that. They call it dangerous because they can't control it. They can't mimic it. They can't bind it. And this is what terrifies them. You can do what they spent years learning to fake.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons.
This world is governed by unspoken spiritual laws. And one of those laws is this: when a soul returns fully awakened, every force that's been feeding off ignorance begins to panic. That's why they're watching you. That's why your name comes up in rooms you've never entered. That's why people who claim to work in light suddenly turn cold around you. Because your light is not filtered. It's raw. It's sovereign. It's untrained by tradition. And it cannot be corrupted. That's why they accuse you of channeling forbidden magic. Because they don't understand how someone who never bowed to their systems could walk with such authority. But let me ask you something sacred and dangerous. What if the power they fear in you isn't magic at all, but memory? What if you've simply remembered who you've always been? Imagine that. Imagine your entire journey, your pain, your isolation, your confusion was never punishment. It was preparation. It was life stripping away everything false so that only your essence would remain. And now that you've started to remember, you're becoming something they cannot touch. Not because of spells, not because of potions, but because you've mastered the one thing no dark force can penetrate: alignment. When you are in alignment with your soul, no curse can hold you. No ritual can bind you. No projection can rewrite your path. And that is the real forbidden magic, a human being who remembers they are divine. That's why they fear you. That's why they whisper. That's why they try to copy your frequency but fail every time. Because you are not channeling forbidden magic. You are the magic, and your time is now. When you walk into a room, their spells break. Here's why: you've probably seen it happen and didn't even realize what you were witnessing. The awkward silence. The sudden change in someone's behavior. The eyes that won't meet yours. Someone stuttering while trying to lie. Or a person who once seemed powerful now fumbling in your presence. That's not coincidence. That's energy collapsing. That's their illusion unraveling in the presence of your truth. And it terrifies them because most people don't realize how much of their reality is held together by unspoken agreements, energetic manipulation, or subtle spells. But when you, the one who walks in truth, enter the space, the spell breaks. You don't need to speak a word. Your presence alone is enough. Why? Because you are in harmony with Source, and Source is the original vibration. Every lie, every illusion, every energetic distortion must recalibrate in its presence. That's why people who operate in shadow can't maintain control around you. Their ego starts to glitch. Their charm starts to crumble. Their power play suddenly looks childish. Because your frequency doesn't respond to performance. It responds to truth. You're not impressed by their masks. You see them. And worse for them, you see through them. This is what they call channeling forbidden magic. But again, it's not magic. It's clarity. It's your intuitive field operating at such a high level that deception becomes impossible in your presence. People feel exposed around you, not because you judge them, but because your energy is clean. And when you carry clean energy, dirty energy starts to itch. This is why certain witches, energy workers, or even spiritual leaders feel unsettled around you. Not because you threatened them, but because you disrupted them. You weren't playing the game. You were the reset button. Here's the deeper layer. Most of them don't even know why they don't like you. It's subconscious, energetic. Their spirit remembers what their ego denies. You've been here before. You've been in ancient temples, sacred councils, initiations under stars no telescope has ever seen. You've carried codes that were once sealed away for lifetimes. But now they're resurfacing, and with them, a force that not only breaks spells but makes the spellcasters question themselves. That's the power you carry. You are a walking activation. You don't just change people, you awaken them. But awakening is a violent process for the ego. And some people aren't ready for that. Some people will fight you, not because you hurt them, but because you remind them. You remind them of the truth they buried, of the gifts they denied, of the power they traded for cheap influence. And when you walk into a room carrying your full essence, it triggers everything they're not ready to face. That's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. So let me ask you something piercing. Are you willing to be the one who disrupts illusions, even if it means walking alone? Because that's what this path demands. Not comfort, not applause, but radical authenticity. You've already felt the cost, being misunderstood, being labeled, being accused of things that have nothing to do with your heart. But look at what's happened every time you rise. You don't retaliate, you elevate. You don't curse, you cleanse. You don't fight with fists, you fight with frequency. And that's why they can't win. because the spells they use are based on fear and control. But your energy is rooted in remembrance and love. And no force, no ritual, no dark intention can override the vibration of a soul that knows who it is. That's your shield. That's your sword. That's what makes you untouchable. You don't need to defend your power. You just need to own it. The spiritual technology hidden in your soul is older than magic itself. There's a reason why even the most seasoned practitioners can't figure you out. They stare, they study, they try to trace your steps, but still, they come up empty. Because what you're operating with isn't from this world. It's not something that can be taught in a class, passed down in a lineage, or conjured with a spell. What's awakening inside you is a spiritual technology, encoded deep within your soul, activated not by ritual, but by remembrance. And this technology is older than magic itself. It's the pure, original frequency, the one that existed before language, before time, before the first altar was ever built. You didn't come here to borrow power. You came here to remember yours. That's why you've always felt like you didn't belong in traditional spiritual spaces. That's why even when you tried to follow the rules, something inside you resisted. You were never meant to follow the map. You are the map. The codes inside you are not downloaded, they're unlocked. Every time you choose alignment over approval, every time you choose truth over comfort, every time you sit in silence and listen instead of chasing validation, you activate another piece of the ancient system within you. And this system doesn't run on ego. It runs on frequency, on intention, or on integrity. Now this is where things get intense, because when this system activates, it begins to shift reality around you. You'll notice people fall away, not because you changed, but because your energy no longer supports their illusions. You'll notice time-bending manifestations accelerating, dreams becoming instructions, signs appearing with uncanny precision. You're not going crazy. You're syncing with the divine grid. You've become a living node of spiritual data, pulsing with codes that rewrite the atmosphere around you. This is what they tried to call forbidden. This is what frightened the ancient ones who sought to control the masses. Because a soul that doesn't need a gatekeeper is a soul that can't be enslaved. But I want to ask you something bold. If you fully trusted this power inside you, what would you stop tolerating? Sit with that. Because the moment you stop shrinking, stop apologizing, stop censoring yourself to make others comfortable, that's the moment the full system comes online. And when it does, you stop playing defense. You become the frequency everyone else has to adjust to. You become the standard. You walk into rooms and shift timelines. You speak and hearts remember. You dream and entire realities bend to match the vision. That's not fantasy. That's alignment. That's what happens when spiritual technology is fully embodied. And yes, this will draw attention. Not all of it good. Some will call you dangerous. Some will say you're cheating reality. Others will insist you're using dark forces. But let's be real, what they're really saying is, I don't understand how you're doing this without my permission. That's the real fear. You've stepped outside the systems. You've stopped needing validation. You've unplugged from the matrix. And now the matrix is glitching. because you weren't meant to be a follower. You were built to recode the system. So here's the final truth. The witches, the manipulators, the energy thieves, they don't fear your rituals. They fear your remembrance, because once you remember, they lose control. Once you remember, their spells break. Once you remember, they can't touch you. And it's not because you're invincible in the way the world defines it. It's because you're untouchable in the way energy works. You move in divine law. You walk with ancient codes. You listen when the world is loud. You act when the world hesitates. You are not playing their game. You're building something older, purer, unshakable. So don't shrink. Don't deny it. Don't explain it. Just embody it. Because you are the force they tried to bury under fear, under dogma, under distraction. But you were never meant to stay hidden. You are the return of the ancient ones. You are the memory they couldn't erase. You are not channeling forbidden magic. You are living proof that the divine cannot be contained,